the Lord of the Rings, the Amazon series. So this first season alone is going to be costing 465 million just for the first season. And I want to look up like how much the cost for the actual movie for the first one. I want to see how much it was. How much production cost of Lord of the Rings first movie, because for a first season, that's a lot.
I'm all about it, man. Um, yeah, this is crazy. So obviously, TV is like the silver screen is so much better than movies nowadays. So um, the big budget show is obviously it pretty much started with Game of Thrones. I'd have to give Game of Thrones this, and this will be a good segue into the next topic. But um, Game of Thrones, they were spending tens of millions of dollars on episodes, like single episodes. So if you look at the final season of Game of Thrones, I bet you it's not far, uh, far from this. And that came out 10 years ago. Like Game of Thrones just celebrated its 10-year anniversary of its the first season.
Wait, it's been 10 years since the
So
first
it's
one.
since the first season.
Oh my
So
god!
it doesn't surprise me that yeah, because I was at Northwood when the first season came out, 2012. So uh, it doesn't surprise me that they're spending this much money on something like this, and that is honestly a good sign because I think they're taking it seriously now. I still haven't had many details on it. I've tried to find some details, and I don't think it's going to be when we say it's a Lord of the Rings series. I don't think we're going to see Aragorn and all of them. I don't think it's going to be a retelling of the original like story. I think it's going to be more about the Second Age instead of the Third Age
Hmm.
because the whole books center around, and we kind of went over this in our our Lord of the Rings podcast we did a few months ago. I don't think that this new series, and I could be wrong here, but I don't think it's going to go through the One Ring and all that. I think it's going to be more about the
Like the
Second Age.
aftermath.
No, I think it's going to be about the Second Age before the War of the Ring, and
Uh,
maybe it shows like Sauron. Like so, the Second Age. There's I think his name is like Melkor. He's like the Sauron of the Second Age, and Sauron is like Melkor's like henchman, and he ends up getting defeated. And there's a whole story behind all this, but it's kind of goes into like the hero's myth and how and like Star Wars is the same thing where it takes the same story and has echoes of the old story, and that's how the Second Age tale goes with Third Age that we all know of Samwise Gamgee and Frodo Baggins. It really mirrors that in a lot of ways. So only it's more um, magical. So it's not so much about humans as it is about elves and dwarves and all that and wizards.
so it's
So,
more
because
focused on other
third age,
races.
yeah, I mean, the third age is really centered around humans because all the other races have either died off or left Middle Earth. So, but there's a whole different like lore and there's all sorts of things going on. I'm super excited for this. This will be another reason to get an Amazon Prime subscription. I think out of every single streaming service right now, I'm confident to say that Amazon's probably pumping out some of the best content.
I mean, they got
I
they
think
got the
they're
boys.
probably Yeah, I mean they've got the boys Invincible. I mean they've got the Man in High Castle. Um, oh, there's a couple of other ones that are just top notch, and I don't think anybody gives Amazon Prime enough credit for some of the work they're doing. I think they're blowing Netflix out of the water. I don't even have Netflix anymore because most of their new suck. Now that being said, I know like the new Michael B. Jordan movie I've heard that sucks, but anyways, it sounds like they're taking this new Lord of the Rings show super serious, and I'm actually kind of excited. I don't care how much money they spend on it if it's good, because if it can be equal to the
to
shows
the
or to
to
the
the
original
movies.
trilogy in the movie, then I will be overjoyed. Anything with new Lord of the Rings is good news for me
Yep.
because that's my favorite trilogy of all time.
I actually looked up like how much like the budget for the film for Lord of the Rings. The first one had a 93 million budget for the first one. I mean, back then that was a
Yeah.
lot of money, and that was
Yeah,
back.
that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 20 years ago. I think Return of the King came out in 2006.
Well, they filmed these back
So,
to back. They filmed all three like
Yeah,
all at once
in
too.
4 years. Yeah,
Yeah. And I didn't see the second one, but then the third movie had a $94 million budget for Return of the
gotcha.
King. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure if you probably in the somewhere
If you
in the
factor in
middle.
inflation, if you factor in inflation, that's probably not crazy. And a show would cost you more if you're doing a big scale and you're doing 10 episodes. So, because that's still 10 hours of film. So it makes sense that 10 hours of silver screen time, if it's a big budget, would be more than one 3.5 hour movie.
hmm I wonder they
I'm
didn't
excited.
they didn't announce like the cast or anything like that for the Amazon, right? Because I
I've
didn't
heard
it's
nothing on
nothing.
this. I've heard nothing.
Yeah, they
When
just
I
said we're
hear
making a
about it,
Lord of
I
the
will
Rings
let you know.
series, but that's it.
Yeah, I've
That's all.
heard.
That's
I mean,
it.
I've known that they're making a Lord of the Rings series for probably 2 or 3 years now. It's been that long since I've heard about the series, and I'm sure COVID delayed a bunch of stuff, but I don't think I've even seen any stills of any sort of shooting or anything. I don't know anything about this. I'm just super pumped. I mean, if they're gonna spend that much money, that means they're not messing around with this
Yeah.
movie or this show. So
I would be great if they actually did like a like the Third Age video game, or if they did like Italians from or not Italian from like Shadow of War or the
yep,
Mordor. Dude, I would love for them to like maybe hit on like other characters we've like encountered in other medias.
yeah. See, if it's a second age, I think they could probably bring in Celebrimbor and
Yeah,
Sauron as
Celebrimborn.
well. So
That'd be
like,
dope.
you know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of where I'm talking about, like where you bring in all these other secondary characters and then you kind of make them. I don't think Celebrimbor's in. He's not like an actual Tolkien character.
Nope.
I don't think he might be based off some, but I don't think he's in. Could be wrong, but I don't think he's in any of the books. But that'd be cool if they brought him in. Like, everything doesn't have to be canon to the books either. I mean, Tolkien's been gone for a while, and his stories of the Second Age, I don't think are fully complete. So you kind of just got to rely on his notes and to make story. As long as it's a good story and it doesn't,
Yeah,
uh,
it's
crap
not
on
like
the
a
originals and the books, then I'm all for it, man.
yeah. As long as it doesn't like force upon it, to be like, oh yeah, he was here the entire time. It's like, no, he wasn't. Yeah, as long
Yeah,
like you said, I agree with you. As long as they have a good story, good characters, and if they can somehow make a character from another series or another game or book, and they mash it in together well, then I'm good for it. And I as you can tell, I'm more into Lord of the Rings myself. I don't know the names that well, but if I see the character, I'm like, oh, I remember him. You know, compared to like like diehard fans. I'm that person. I'm like, oh, I know who that is. I'm like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme, just pointing at the TV. Look.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's the greatest. So I don't know. I'm excited, man. I don't care if they spend $1 billion on an episode. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, think of it this way: if they invested all that money and they make it all back in like one, like the season premiere of like one episode, they got all their money back right there.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but it's more of a I don't know. I mean, they're not going to make money off of it. I mean, it's not going to be a win. It's just going to be, can we drive more traffic to Amazon Prime subscriptions? And it's hard to really base that. I mean, they probably have view count and stuff, but I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited. Um, yeah, spend all the money you want. Amazon, you're loaded as it is, so make a good Lord of the Rings series. And if you crap on it, I'm done. I'm done with you.
Well,
So,
he'll still keep the Prime though.
oh yeah.